Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another breakdown. And this time, we're gonna talk about the song Accordion by MF Doom and Madlib. But before we dive into the song, let's give it a little context. This track, Accordion, is featured on the album called Madvillain that was put out in 2004. It's a collaboration between MF Doom and Madlib. So the year is 2004, and by then MF Doom had already released Operation Doomsday, which came out in 1999. This record would put MF Doom as an important figure to the underground music scene, to the underground hip hop scene. I actually discussed the song featured on that album that is called Doomsday. I advise you guys to go check it out because it's a fun video where I try to recreate that Sade sample there. Madlib, on the other hand, had released his first solo work in 2000 under the moniker of Quasimodo. Madvillain was mainly produced by Madlib that did it in Brazil, my home country. And he did it with just a little instrumentation. A Boss SP303 sampler, a turntable, and a tape deck. He created great tracks. Accordion is mainly based on a sample that was cut from a song called Experience by Daedalus. Although it's called Accordion, Daedalus actually playing a Magnus 391 electric chord organ in this track. So enough of that, let's now dive into the structure, the arrangement, how he cut the sample. We're gonna try and recreate the sample. How he did, I don't know, but I think there is a way to get there as close as possible to the original track. And let's discuss that and try to use that as tools to our future songs and to improve us as producers. So here we are, Accordion. Let's first see how is the tempo of this song. We can see here that is a 96 BPM song. It's a low tempo song, and it's an interesting example, and we're gonna talk about that a little bit later, of how Madlib would treat a sample and how he would create a beat, a drumming pattern. The elements of the beat are really loose and happen in a very organic way, and that's interesting. But we're gonna talk about that a little bit later. Let's just have a little overview of the track. I usually divide a track as conventional as possible, like an intro, a verse, a chorus, a bridge, I don't know, an outro, whatever I think of. But it's mainly a convention because, especially on the electronic realm of music, we are not really attached to that pattern. But here, I tried to give it a little structure. I tried to name it as a little structure just to guide us into the structure of the song, into the arrangement of the song, and how we could use this as a layout to another song that we are building ourselves. So we have here the intro where Madlib would present us to the sample idea mainly, and also to the beat that's gonna be repeating along with the sample. So let's hear just a little bit here. Okay, we have this here that I called verse. It could be a chorus, but I called again a verse, but it's like a second verse. I did this division here because of the entering of this element here. It is a synth bass, and also I can sense a little variation to the flow of MF Doom's delivery. And also here is another verse here where he plays around with his delivery again, and an outro here which is pretty obvious. The song almost morphs into another one. Yeah, so as you guys can see, it's a really simple idea, but Accordion is a really impactful song, and most listeners, most MF Doom's listeners and Madlib listeners cite this song as a great favorite song, and we're gonna talk about it and trying to find out why that's the reason. Okay, so we have here the song from where Madlib took the sample, some sections to the project. A quick note, if you want this one, send me an email and we can talk about it. We're gonna listen to this a little bit later. I recreated the beat with audio and with MIDI here. The MIDI version it's a little more quantized to the grid. The way that Madlib created the drumming pattern is a little bit looser, and it has this kind of a dragged feel to it that I recreated more faithfully in this audio version here, and we're gonna talk about that a little bit later too. We have here the sample as I took it from the song. I have here the MIDI recreation to the chords. I also have here a bass accordion because it is the bass that happens in the sample, and it kind of sounds as if it's happening in the chord organ that the Daedalus is playing. And we also have here the MIDI version to the drums, and we have the synth bass that happens on the verse 2, and then we have this outro here that is just marking this passage here that pretty much finishes the accordion track. Okay, so let's listen to the intro of Accordion. We already have the beat pattern happening here and the sample, but that's it, just the sample being looped.
Living off borrowed time, the clock.
And then MF Doom enters. We're gonna talk a little bit about MF Doom singing, rapping, whatever. But the focus of this video is actually on the producing side of things, where Madlib represents the major importance. Okay, so here let's already talk about the sample that he took from Experience by Daedalus. An interesting thing that we can notice here in this intro here is that the loop is kind of cut a little bit. It should actually be a little bit like this. The song would start here, because if I loop it the way this is, the way the song starts, we're gonna listen to this and let's check it out. You see, it's a perfect loop. But the song actually starts here. I don't know if you guys feel it the way that I feel, but this section here, actually, it's the beginning of this one here. Okay, so if you guys pay attention to that now, when the song hits this chord here, it will just continue here. Okay, as if it's starting here. I don't know, maybe it's a little bit confused, but try to look at this mark here. When it hits here, it's gonna feel like the loop it's restarting. All right, so if I do this here, okay, so it starts actually here in this kick here. I mean, that's how I feel it. All right, that's how I feel it, and that's how I think the chords are played here. Okay, in my remake, if we listen to the loop, it would sound something like this. Gonna mute this and this too. Okay, but the loop, the way that it's presented to us in the intro, it's actually like this. With the original song. Okay, it feels a little bit weird because this section repeats in my accordion and it has this slow attack. But this is really not that important. It's just how you read things. And for me, that's interesting because the way that the snare hits here is almost like it's losing it's missing some heavy element that I think the kick was necessary in a boom bap rhythm that this song implies. I talk here a lot about boom bap rhythms because most of the songs that I covered they revolved around the hip hop rhythms, and boom bap is really common. It's a pretty simple rhythm as I see it. The kick happens on the 1 and on the 3, and the snare on the 2 and on the 4. As the name implies, it's like a boom, bap, boom, bap. Like the boom being the kick and the bap being the snare. So that's pretty much it. This drumming pattern here, this beat here that Madlib created, it's not that simple, it's not that obvious, but it's pretty much implying that rhythm. Even though the kick's not happening here on the 1 in this intro, because the boom bap rhythm is so implied, you kind of miss the heaviness of a kick happening here. So, you know, the first hit being the snare. So I think that would be another argument for us to see this song, see this loop as starting here, actually, okay, where the kick hits. So that's how we're gonna see this, look at it in this way, okay? But that's really just an interpretation. It's just a way to make things a little bit simpler, at least for me, because this way I would be able to identify the idea a little bit better, because it's a little bit more conventional. It serves as an example of how you can twist the listener's perspective just by cutting some part of the song or some idea that is expected to happen on that area. And I think that's what Madlib did here. I rather think that he did this consciously, like took a little snippet from the intro here and it started from there. I think that's just how he would see the song. Maybe he saw the rhythm in this way here. Okay, but you know, I see it like this. Either way, it's interesting. Again, a great argument to defend how complex you can be with simple things, with little things. And yeah, and it's another reason why I think this song lasts so much in our heads when we listen to it. Okay, let's try now to recreate the sample. Let's see here. I think we already know the loop idea, how it is. Let's now talk about how he did it. Let's listen to the original idea here. He starts the song with these percussive elements here. I'm gonna jump around a little bit. Okay. And now it's gonna start the main instrument, the organ that he's playing, the accordion. Okay, it's pretty obvious that he took from there. But one thing that wasn't that obvious was how he did it, where he cut it, and the tonality too. There is a difference in tonality. So how I did it and how you guys could try it with actually any song that you think you want to recreate or take the sample as someone else did. First, I put it like in the most obvious way. I'm gonna put this off grid. Maybe he just cut the first appearance of the organ and looped it. So I did this. And I was like, no, that's weird. That's not right. I had to detune it by 1 semitone. And then I conventionally put this as minus 25 cents. But I think you guys can get here by ear. This is not even an accurate thing. I just was doing this by ear. And I tried to put even numbers just to make it clear and simple. But it could actually be another value. I'm not so sure. But I think in this way, the original one and the sample sounds a little bit close. Let's listen again. Okay, it's obvious. Okay, it's obvious now. Let's listen. It's way more closer, but the obvious part here is that the tempo is wrong. It's not happening at the same time. Okay, so let's listen to the original, how it happens. So you have this dun, dun. So let's try and find this one here. Okay, so it should start here. It's the first appearance of the chord, the organ. Like this. Okay, so let's put it there. Let's see how this works. Let's see them together. Let's put them together. Still something wrong, right? What about this one? This way. Maybe. Let's see. I'm guiding myself here and here and also here and here. These big peaks here are actually kicks, so it's not useful to use them, okay? Because there is no kick happening in the original one, right? So I'm guiding myself through this and this and this. Okay, so let's listen to them together now. Oh. You guys check that out? Here, with start, it's sounding close to the original sample, right? There is something off. Can you guys see how it morphs around this area here as if it synced somehow? Let's just compare it. You can almost hear it as a phase effect because I think that's the case, that there are different phasing here. So around this area where I think the sounds are synced a little bit better is where I think Madlib took the original one. So if I cut it from here until here, would then have the original sample a little bit close to it. Let's listen to that. I mean, that's how I see it. Actually, the sample would sound something actually like this if we take the intro as the main idea. Okay, so I think he took this and looped it just like this. So if I would just duplicate this, all right, as I'm gonna do it, we pretty much would have the main idea, but it's starting here. What we have is this. If we put the original one along with this one, it's pretty much the same. Maybe there is a little difference here in tonality. I don't know. I didn't really measure things so accurately. So one thing that you guys can do to avoid problems in the future with the sample that you guys are using is to warp it, because normally the sample is in a different rhythm than the one that you're working on. In this case, it's pretty synced to the original one, but if I was doing this from the structure from the beginning, I would have a little bit of a trouble because I would have to calculate how late my drum pattern would be. You know, it could We could avoid a little trouble with this, but if you don't want to do it, it's okay too. It would give this a little bit of a more organic or natural feeling to your song. But because I'm recreating this and I was trying to avoid any weird timing issues, I warped it. I'm gonna just show you guys how you can do it. So we have here this peak here, which is pretty much happening in the same time. Okay, let's focus here. Okay, with these yellow arrows here, I can short this thing. I can make things shorter or longer. Okay, I'm gonna do this. Not necessary there. I'm just gonna mark it and mark this one too. Okay, as I click it, you guys can see this blue arrow here. So if I click this one, okay, it appears there too. So you guys can check that out with me. All right, I'm gonna pass a little bit to here. We have another pick here. I can make the grid a little bit smoother. Wait, a little bit smoother. Nice. This one is fine. This one is fine too. Another one that's fine. You guys would want to make the markers, because once you make things shorter here, you also affect anything else that's coming after it. So make sure to mark things where they should be, as you guys prefer. Okay, this one's synced. This one is way out of sync as I see it. So I'm gonna drag it over here. Oops, I moved the wrong one. I should move here. Okay, this one's fine. So I'm just gonna try and look for the, okay, it's marked there. This one is not okay. I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna do this. All right, is there anything else? Okay, it's pretty much okay. I'm gonna put this a little bit behind. Fine. This one's fine too. And then I'm gonna drag this one too. Okay, so let's listen to this again. Now warped. It's really synced. Okay, in this way, I was just trying to make it as close as possible to the main sample. I don't know if Madlib, I don't know if he manipulated the timing of things, but he definitely did tune it, as we saw. And that's how you can recreate just the sample, the original one. Okay, so let's listen to it once again. I also recreated the MIDI as I stated earlier. I'm gonna play it along. Just the MIDI now. You guys can take a good listen to the chords, or at least my version to the chords of the song. As you guys can see, the first chord is formed by these notes here: a G on the bass, a B flat, a D, an F, and an A here. So we have a G, a B flat, and a D. That would be a G minor. And we have the seventh of the G, and we have the ninth of the G. So we have here a G minor with the ninth, a G minor 7 with the ninth interval 2. And the second chord here, an E, a G, a B flat again, a C, and an E. With the C, the A, and the G, we have a C major. And this one would be the 7th interval, the major 7th interval to C. And this one being the bass. So this is a C major 7 with an E for the bass. And then we have here a D minor, I guess, because it's a D, an F, an A, a C, and an E. D, F, and A, that's a D minor, and we have the 7th of that chord, and we have also the 9th to that chord 2, which is the E. And then we have this F here, and then a G, which I think it's mostly melodic, just a melodic idea to transition things and to make it interesting from one part to another. But with the F would be the 3rd to the chord, which is no difference. And the G here would be the 11th interval. If you play a C major in this area here, it would also work. If I can show you guys here, a little quick. Okay, I think it's a little bit more information than the original one, right? Okay, I think it clashes a little bit, I guess. Maybe this would work, and it would then be a D minor with an 11th interval. That's pretty much what it is. Okay, so these are the chords that we have, and we also have this little bass happening too, on the chord, on the organ thing, the accordion. Let's call the organ, and I'm gonna highlight it now so you guys can see it more obvious. The original one now. Turning it off. Just the original. Along with the chords now. And the bass. I think it's pretty close, right? Okay. The chords and the bass is pretty much what the sample is serving this song. Along with that, we have the drumming pattern here that we're gonna now be talking about. So here in this intro, we are actually presented first with this snare, as you guys can check that out now. The snare being these elements here. I'm gonna highlight the color too. And their sound now. Pretty simple idea and rhythm to the snare. Seen this way is a little bit easier to understand it, and it's happening here on the 2 and on the 4. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's happening always in that rhythm, in that pattern. The kick is a little bit more vivid. It breathes a little bit more per se, because Madlib probably added the kick playing himself the notes. They are way more loose, and it has some variations on some parts here and there, but the main idea of the kick is this one here, as we're gonna see now. Highlight the kick now. You see it? It's a simple kick pattern, but I think it's pretty groovy somehow. And the interesting thing here, as we talked about boom bap, the kick should happen here on the 1 and on the 3 here, but it doesn't happen. It happens only here on the 1, and then we have, this one would be like another repetition to the beat. We have again on the 1 and 2 hits on the 2, and this one on the half of the 4th beat. This would diverge from the boom bap, although it has like the same feeling for me, or implied, or this one, or somehow it's implied to me. I don't know. Let's listen to this. It's like they're there, like you expect them to be there, but they are not. And this little break to expectations, actually, it's what makes the track more interesting to me somehow. I don't know. If I would make an experiment here, it would be something like this, the kick. So now just my remake here. But that's not the rhythm, and it actually makes the song way more boring somehow. Right, so that was the kick. And along with the kick, we have this hi-hat that's really subtle, just this tiny sound. It's like a closed hi-hat. This, I put here a clap and a snare. I'm not so sure if there is a clap and a snare, but I have a feeling that there are two sounds there, which I'm not so sure if it is what I put there in my recreation, and which is an interesting technique because it adds more of a complexity to the sound, to the way the sound happens every time, because it's a repetitive loop. He has to somehow be able to capture us every time it restarts. We have the hi-hat here. I think it's just reinforcing every strong beat, and I think it's a great element to make things a little bit more grounded and simpler, I guess. Kind of compensates the kick being so weird sometimes. Let's highlight it. Okay, just the original one. Pretty simple. And this that I call tick, it's this weird percussive thing that I think comes from Daedalus Experience original track, which is, it sounds to me like a scissors cutting something. I don't know, but maybe a tick tock of a clock or something like that. I don't know. Let's listen to the original. Looking for that. There. It's like a clock. I'm gonna try to highlight it. The movement, it's almost like the bass, the organ bass. And here, as you guys can probably feel and listen, this one, it's not so accurate. It's not happening in the same time, because this MIDI recreation, it's strict to the grid. And I don't think the sample is. And that's the thing that we discussed with the warping and everything. And that's also the reason why I had this recreation here that I did with just sampling and audio, because with this one I tried to keep things close and tempo wise. In this one I put the kick where the kick really happens in the song, and it happened in a weird place if we compare to most songs and what we expect of a song normally. Okay, so let's now talk about that. And the tick tock of a clock, tick tock of a clock, the tick thing that sounds like a clock or a scissor, whatever, actually also happens in weird timing places. And I didn't put this in the MIDI because I was trying to make it a little bit more precise and exact. So let's listen now to my recreation, my audio recreation, to highlight how the kick happens in mostly delayed places. All right, actually we can visually see the grid here. The kick should start there, but it doesn't. It actually hits a little bit late there. Also the same thing here and here too. But the snare is it's hitting pretty exact. It's accurate. All right, but the kick's not. And if we highlight just the kick here like this, that gave me an odd feeling, man. But along with the track, it sounds normal. It sounds okay, because I think that's the way he did it. He played it and felt the groove and felt it breathing and organic, and that's I think one of the main elements for this song being so popular and so captive. Just listen to the drum pattern. Here it's so that's, I think, how you make a pretty simple rhythm into a complex rhythm, into a groovy rhythm, maybe just by one element being so loose and natural like that, giving this human feel to a track anywhere it's possible. It's just so much more organic, and it gives us this genuine identity to the song, which is really cool. All right, so yeah, that's the whole idea pretty much happening. The rhythm of the tick thing, it's not so important because it's so loose, but it's almost like this. I'm gonna highlight it, just that. Okay. And I mentioned only the kick, but the hi-hats are a little bit late, as you guys can see here too. And I'm gonna show you guys with the BPM activated that the song is in the 96 and it's fine. You see, with the BPM, it really shines through how late the kick is. But the snare, and not only the kick, but the hi-hat is also a little bit late. If I play it here.
Living off borrowed time, the clock tick faster. That'll be the hour they knock the slick blaster. Dick Dastardly and Muttley with sick laughter. A gunfight and they come to cut the mix.
That's cool, man. That's really cool. And if I don't put any BPM, you don't even notice it.
Living off borrowed time, the clock tick faster. That'll be the hour they knock the slick blaster. Dick Dastardly and Muttley with sick laughter.
Probably he played himself the hi-hats and the kick and created this groovy thing, as you guys can see, and that's really interesting. And this is the main loop idea, but we have here some variations, okay? So as I already showed you guys what is happening, let's now listen to the intro in its entirety. And I'm gonna highlight it from time to time, some elements. We got the first entrance of MF Doom here.
Living off borrowed time, the clock tick faster. That'll be the hour they knock the slick blaster. Dick Dastardly and Muttley with sick laughter. A gunfight and they come to cut the mix master. I see.
It's interesting because even with the voice, we have some weird stuff happening here. Someone sniffing. And he double tracking his singing to his rapping.
Muttley with sick laughter, a gunfight and they come to cut the mix master.
That's interesting too.
CE Cole, nice to be old. Y2G Steve twice to threefold.
And here we have our first kick variation. In case you guys didn't catch it, I'm gonna highlight it now.
CE Cole, nice to be old. Y2G Steve twice to threefold.
In this case, I have to use the audio version so I can make it a little bit closer to what happens here. But yeah.
To be old, Y2G Steve twice to threefold.
And then he again changed things here.
He sold scrolls, lo and behold. Know who's the illest ever, like the greatest story. He sold scrolls, lo and behold. Know who's the illest ever, like the greatest story.
along with the recreation.
He sold scrolls, lo and behold, know who's the illest ever, like the greatest story.
That's cool, man. And then he continues. It's like it's like a kick solo.
Told, keep your glory gold and glitter. For half of his niggas to take him out the picture. Told, keep your glory gold and glitter. For half of his niggas to take him out the picture. Told, keep your glory gold and glitter. For half of his niggas to take him out the picture. Told, keep your glory gold and glitter. For half of his niggas to take him out the picture. Told.
And then he comes back to the main idea.
The other half is rich and it don't mean shit to villain, a mixture between both with a twist of liquor. The other half is rich and it don't mean shit to villain, a mixture between both with a twist of liquor. The other half is the liquor, chasing with more beer.
Wow, and like for dear when he at the mic, it's
like the place get like.
After this little kick solo, he then comes back to the same loop and to then once again change things up in the synth bass.
The other half is rich and it don't mean shit to villain, a mixture between both with a twist of liquor, chasing with more beer. Tasting like truth for dear when he at the mic, it's like the place get like, oh yeah. It's like they know what's about to happen. Just keep your eye out like I capping.
Yeah, that's pretty obvious once you hear it. And it's gonna happen again.
Is he still a fly guy clapping if nobody ain't hear it? And can they testify from in the spirit? And is he still a fly guy clapping if nobody ain't hear it? And can they testify from in the spirit? And living the true gods, giving y'all nothing but the lick like two broads. Got more lyrics than the church, got ooh lords. And he hold the mic in your attention like two swords. Either that, or either one with two blades on it. Hey you, don't touch the mic like it's...
Something else happens here. It's a weird choice. I think it happens, I guess, someone talking in the background, and then there is this reverb with a lot of decay. Let's try and listen for that while we have the new synth bass in mind.
Got more lyrics than the church, got ooh lords. And he hold the mic in your attention like two swords. Either that, the fire from in the spirit. And living the true gods, giving y'all nothing but the lick like two broads. Got more lyrics than the church, got ooh lords.
Maybe it's another.
And he hold the mic in your attention like two swords.
It's another.
Or the one with two blades on it. Hey you, don't touch the mic like it's AIDS on it. Yeah, it's like the end to the means. Fuck type of message that sends to the fiends. That's why he bring his own needles and get more cheese than Doritos, Cheetos or Fritos. Slip
around here.
That's why he bring his own needles and get more cheese than Doritos, Cheetos or Fritos.
Another
slip like
element to add to a simple track to give it another layer of complexity and to capture again your listener. As this reverb is dying and the synth bass is going away too, we have again another variation to the kick. Pretty subtle.
That's why he bring his own needles and get more cheese than Doritos, Cheetos or Fritos.
Alright,
it's like the end
pattern.
To the means. Fuck type of message that sends to the fiends. That's why he bring his own needles and get more cheese than Doritos.
I'm gonna highlight it real quick.
That's why he bring his own needles and get more cheese than Doritos, Cheetos or Fritos.
Alright. Just the original.
That's why he bring his own needles and get more cheese than Doritos, Cheetos or Fritos.
Just the original.
Slip like Freudian, your first and last step to playing yourself like accordion. Those slip like Freudian, your first and last step to playing yourself like accordion. Those slip like.
And in this area, he comes back to the same pattern once again as it was.
When he at the mic, you don't go next. Even pussy cats like why hoes need Kotex. Exercise index won't need Bowflex and won't take the one with no skinny legs like Joe Tex.
So yeah, that's how it goes with the kick. We could talk about the clap and the snare and the hi-hat throughout this whole song, but it would be pointless because it pretty much repeats the same cycle as I showed you guys earlier. What changes is this kick here, and we have the entrance of this synth bass around this area here. I don't know, like 45 seconds maybe, I don't know. And then after the synth bass goes away, the synth bass also comes along with this reverb idea here that I showed you.
Got ooh lords, and he hold the mic in your attention like two swords.
As it dies, the kick changes once again, And at the end here we have just this little appearance to the synth bass.
Exercise index won't need both flex and won't take the one with no skinny legs like Joe.
And I didn't even talk about the notes that the synth bass is doing, but it's doing this D, this G, a C, an A again, a D, an A, a C, and a D, and then it repeats itself. Okay, that's pretty much it. I think the song's probably in the D minor, maybe it's relative major F. I don't know. You guys can leave your thoughts in the comments. So yeah, this is it. Let's check this last
exercise index won't need both flex and won't take the one with no skinny legs like Joe.
The sample idea, it's gonna just be fading out. I have this turntable thing in the back, and then we have this little. It serves as an outro, also as a transition to the next song. Yeah, guys, I think that we saw the arrangement of things and also saw a great masterclass of how to treat a sample. I think Madlib is teaching us here in the song how you could take a simple idea and transform it into a complex thing, and how you can treat a sample in very different ways. In this one, he uses it as a background to other stuff happening, but also complements a lot the lyrics that MF Doom's doing, which probably because MF Doom did it after the beat was done, but it was responsible to evoke in MF Doom this kind of lyricism that he's delivering. It's cool to understand that that MF Doom's flow also adds a lot to the rhythm.
Living off borrowed time, the clock tick faster. That'll be the hour they knock the slick blaster. Dick Dastardly.
The way that he loops his rapping is also interesting because he's also another really loose rapper in a way that he's not so restricted to the grid. He tends to break the conventions to the rhythms that we perceive. Usually that's the case. But yeah, I think that was really a long video, and that's pretty much it. I'm gonna leave you guys with my recreation here for this song. I'm not gonna use the MIDI drums in this version. I'm gonna use everything else. All right, and I hope you liked it. If you did, please leave a comment, say something. Let's discuss this song. If you guys agree or disagree with anything here, if you want to know more, if you want to suggest another song. Anyway, until the next time, guys.